know that she's there to support you, which is brilliant verbiage, by the way. I use that every single rep that I bring on. That's we have a couple different, like prerequisites, I guess, to be on the team, and that's one of them. So anyway, about 5 weeks into our journey, we were having great results. I had a 2-year-old that gagged at anything green before. And if you know a 2-year-old or have been a 2-year-old or have been around a 2-year-old, you know that the energy that I was feeling could have been in my head. My 4-year-old's focus changing completely, pretty much, within 2 weeks. That could have been in my head. My husband's inflammation that he didn't have in his leg could have been in our heads. But you cannot fake a gagging 2-year-old. And about 3 weeks into our journey, when he asked for a salad in 8 seconds, I dang near dropped over. And that was really what sealed it for me, was his taste buds. So anyway, I had an 8-month-old that needed tubes in her ears. I canceled the surgery, actually. I was like, well, let's test this stuff out. And she's 5 now, and she has not been to the doctor for a single sick visit since we started. So really, though, what kind of propelled me into sharing was, after our great story, I dove into the research. And as a pharmacist, I always ask 3 questions. Is it safe in cancer patients? I'd always had a very fond love for people with cancer, very intrigued by the whole process and how we make that better. And is it safe in pregnancy? And would you give it to your kids? And I had never met a product that I found in the pharmacy that was safe in all 3 of those people, and it was studied in all 3 of those populations. So when I found out that Juice Plus was, I instantly messaged a mom of a kiddo with cancer from our hometown. And she messaged me back something that just forever rocked me to the core. And she said, how long have you known about this, and why wouldn't you have told me sooner? And I realized that day that I took an oath to do no harm. And by not telling people about this, I absolutely was not honoring that oath. And I prayed every day from then on that God put in my path the people who needed me most. Within 4 months, I knew that I had helped more people with Juice Plus than I had in almost 10 years as a pharmacist. And a month later, we had a daycare incident. Our daycare provider, I was nursing a baby every day at her house, and found out that she had had an affair and was leaving her family. And it rocked me, honestly. I mean, I was in that environment every day with my kids. I had no idea. And I was, putting my kids in a toxic atmosphere that didn't need to happen. And so anyway, so that was 4 months into our Juice Plus journey. Within a year, I had made up what I was making at the pharmacy. We hit qualifying national marketing director, and I was at home raising my own kids. And then in January of that following year, so 17 months after signing on, we hit national marketing director, which was only an act of God. I mean, I'm picture perfect proof that you don't have to have it all together to hit national marketing director. And anyway, the benefits package allowed us to retire my husband, Mark, from his family farm, which did not bring him joy. You're the average of the 5 people that you surround yourself with the most. And he just had an epiphany and said, no wonder I hate myself during planting and harvest. We got to change this. And anyway, we've been on mission ever since then. And now he's at home with me, raising kiddos and cattle. And, I'm thankful for this whole journey. Obviously, I'm thankful for the product. I'm thankful for the business. I'm thankful for the community that I didn't know I needed, but I was a lost mom. I went to work 3 days a week. We didn't have a 5-year plan. It was the same as we were doing that particular time, but our hearts yearned for more. And we knew there was a better way. We just didn't know the better way. And I tell you, the memories that I wouldn't have had I not stumbled upon this awesomeness is, I wouldn't have memories of Mark playing catch in the yard with the kids as they get off the bus. I wouldn't have the memories of my girls fighting, after school to see who gets to go with dad to fence, because that wasn't an option when he was at his family farm. I wouldn't have met the amazing people like Leah and get to come along on their journey and watch them absolutely soar. And so much to be grateful for, that's for sure. Is that kind of what you wanted on that, Leah?
Yeah, woo, that was so awesome. And, a lot of that I didn't even know. I guess I had heard little bits of your story, but I didn't know all of that. That is incredible. And I just have to say, kudos for, recognizing and sticking to that oath, because that's a big thing, right? And
Yeah.
me being in the medical field, I feel the same way. Some of us on the line are also in the medical field. And we really do it. It's all about, taking care of people. And that's why we got into the medical field, is to take care of people.
Right.
So why not take that a step further? And I realized that I can only do so much between the four walls of my office, and what I could do with this business is far greater than I can do between those walls. So I just, hats off to you for doing that, and just really, sticking to that oath. So awesome. And I'm sure parts of your story everyone can resonate with, like the 2-year-old and and just having that time and financial freedom, and it's so exciting to hear that. So, so what key steps did you take to really hit that level to, that have worked for you up to your success?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, first of all, I'm totally coachable, honestly. I mean, we have a tried and proven system. There are people that have gone before you that have done it, that have been successful. I mean, pick a sideline buddy, pick whatever. Now we've got all sorts of tools that we didn't have then. I would have killed for Teamzy when I first started. All those follow-ups that completely fell through the cracks because I was raising 4 babies and working, 30 hours a week and all that stuff. But so I would say I was coachable, number one. Number two, I was consistent. I was constantly reaching out to new people. And this may kind of floor some of you, but I had a really bad taste in my mouth about events. I would get a postcard in the mail of an event happening, and I would say, oh, it's another bill. I suppose I better make an appearance at this one. It's so-and-so that's putting it on. And I hated them. I was socially awkward. I was not confident walking in a room, which you probably wouldn't know now. And I'm not that way anymore. I'm a totally different person now. But I just hated stuff like that. And so I just decided that I was going to succeed in this business without doing events. And we hit QNMD and had been with Juice Plus for 1 year before I put on a single event. Now my upline came about 3 weeks into the business and worked out with me, and then made smoothies afterwards, and it was awkward and I hated it. And I was like, nope, never doing that again. I hit VF off of that one event that she did, but it was I didn't even share my story. I was just in the background going, oh, this is horrible, and it's not that way. It was my perception, you guys. I had to get over that. And so finally, our regional director came about 8 months into the business, I would say. And it was an awesome event. And I went and I took a bunch of team and I said, okay, what do we have to do to get a big event like that near us? And so the Nebraska team completely rallied around me. We did a panel event where most of my team were the speakers, and we filled the room with 81 people. Very first event. And I was the MC, and kind of weaved it all together. And all of a sudden it hit me man, I have been building this business one person at a time around kitchen tables. I would just set up a meeting, go to their house, come out for supper. Mark and I are still 100% for having people over to our house and getting them signed up. I mean, it's not a sales pitch or anything like that. It just naturally comes up. And Mark is an amazing force when it comes to that. It's he intrigues them and then he turns them over, but anyway, so you can affect a lot more people if you're not scared of events. I wish I would have known, who knows how fast we could have gotten to NMD if I would have caught the vision before then. Anyway, so consistency. And I would say until at least 6 months after we hit NMD, we got 5 new customers every single month and a new rep. We did Wendy Campbell's Royal Crown. It works, and just even if you're a sales coordinator getting 5 new customers a month, that's $76 times 5. And so even just that is going to increase people's paychecks, So I didn't have goals in the beginning, but I also knew that somebody gets the difference between $76 and $39 for a trio. And I am frugal and I don't like to leave money on the table. So I looked at my upline and I was like, you're awesome, but we're both pharmacists. I have the skill set that you do, and I'm not leaving money on the table. So tell me how to get to sales coordinator. And that's the truth, So everyone that comes in, I'm instantly casting vision beyond sales coordinator. but for sure sales coordinator, because you tell people that you're leaving money on the table if you're not sales coordinator, and they want to figure out how to get to sales coordinator, right? So those are just a few things, Leah. I probably could keep going, but I don't want to ramble.
Well, everything that you said was awesome, and I can't picture you rambling because you've just a plethora of pearls here. So that's really awesome. Really, what I hear so often from every single NMD is, "Are you coachable?" That's such a big thing. So, and that really is chalked down to is just following the tried and proven system, right? I mean.
Yeah.
I always say, the people that have come before us have laid out that yellow brick road and lit it in gold and diamonds, So it's definitely something, if you are coachable and you're not trying to reinvent the wheel, you can get to NMD.
Clearly. Twist on it. I mean, I would say that not doing an event for a year is like putting my own twist on it, but I did ask for advice, and I took the advice when I wasn't an asshole, that you ask and then don't take the advice. I took the advice if I asked for it, it meant I wanted the advice. I do have to say one thing though, one other thing. Sorry, ask, ASK, whole, right? Not, yeah. Anyway, I love Jesus, but I swear a little too. So hopefully I won't do that. Anyway, I got to tell my conference experience though. Is that okay, Leah?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, so we signed on in August of 2014, and in October was the Memphis conference. And I had some serious FOMO going on when I was not at that Memphis conference. And Mark was like, what is going on? You've been in a funk for 3 days. And I'm like, well, there's this conference going on in Memphis and I should be there. And he looked at me like I had a great big birthmark in between my eyes or something. And he's like, Michaela, you've never left the kids other than to have another baby. You must really be into this stuff if you're thinking about going to a conference. And I'm like, yep, Sacramento's in the spring, Mark, we're going. And he is like my forever bodyguard, just a good dude. And so he's like, well, you aren't going by yourself. We're like country bumpkins. You aren't going by yourself. I'll go with you. And so we took 2 team with us and went to Sacramento. And it was literally a make it or break it trip. I mean, I respect the heck out of Mark. And we had decided, as a couple, that if we didn't get a good vibe, that we were going to just stay sales coordinator forever, and we wouldn't move up the marketing plan. And so then Jay Martin comes out, right? And, Mark, the whole conference is sitting there with his arms crossed and like a grimace, just like skeptical as all get out. And Jay Martin gets up there and basically just blows the company wide open. And Mark looks down the row at me. I was sitting away from him kind of, and just how it happened. And he's like, gave me the thumbs up. And so I took a skeptical spouse and I brought home a team member. And that conference, we decided then and there that we were going all in. And one of the NMDs that crossed the stage, I can't remember who it was, but they said, when are you going to cross the stage? Write it down. Written goals are so important, and turn to your neighbor and tell them when you're going to be an MD. And I looked down the row and I'm like, when's the next spring conference? And somebody said Phoenix 2016. So all across my notebook, diagonally, I wrote, I am NMD by Phoenix 2016. Now, I had no freaking idea what it took to get to NMD. I had no idea. I still have no idea how I get paid, honestly. I just love helping people, and that, like reading a report is not top priority to me, clearly. But anyway, so I may even still have the note card. So I had the note card when I got home, and I wrote the qualifications out for being NMD. I was not senior sales coordinator yet. I had no idea how to get to that either. But anyway, I just kept checking those sales coordinators off one by one, and we did it. We hit it I think we had till March to hit it, and we hit it in January. So write down your goals. That is my biggest tip. And don't feel like, if you're an NMD and in your heart you're an NMD, don't write senior sales coordinator down for a goal. You're going to hit that on the way to NMD, but what's that saying, like shoot for the moon and you'll land among the stars or something like that. So, maybe your brain isn't wired like me, and maybe those big, hairy, audacious goals, paralyze you rather than motivating you. But I have 2 brothers that are physicians. Neither one of them are on nor believe in Juice Plus. And I have lost customers. And the brother that is currently practicing in my hometown has lost patience because he has said that Juice Plus isn't what I say it is. So it's not like I didn't have heartache along the journey. I totally did. Growing up in a funeral home, we were a super close family. And so to have two younger brothers that aren't in my corner still is kind of a heartache. But I finally have given that over to God and realized that they'll come around in their own time. And I just need to, honestly, though, it just fanned my flame. It just drove me harder to change more lives in our hometown. And next July, my youngest brother will also be a physician in our hometown. So it's going to be an interesting spin for sure.
Well, they can't deny your success. And if they, physicians, they really look at the double-blind, placebo-controlled, randomized.
If they look at
it, what's that?
I said, if they look at it, that's what they would look at. Right.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I'm sure, like you, we all have a team, a family member that, is either kind of like about it, whether the business or the product. But I mean, you can't deny your success. You can't deny what it's done for your family and for the people that you've helped. So I always think of it that way. They may not get it ever, but hopefully they see the consistency and they see, what's happening with me. So, and that's a really great story, especially about conference. Like, yes, write it down. So I love that. And I've got Q as my next goal, but what I got from that is I know I'm going to be an NMD. I just need to write down NMD.
Yes, do it.
Oh, I will. Trust.
I know.
So if you could, I don't like to be negative about things, but if you could focus on like just maybe one or two no-nos, like absolute no-nos, maybe things that you've experienced in your business that you would absolutely say, no, don't do it.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's this little book, and maybe you all have read it. I hope you all have. It's called Exactly What to Say.
Oh.
Heard of that?
I just did that on our leadership call this morning.
Yes. It's an hour and 15-minute Audible. If you crank it up to 1.5 times the speed, it's 38 minutes. I've listened to it 7 times since Christmas. I've taken notes one of the times. Finally, I mean, it took me 6 times of listening to it before I went, Michaela, just sit down and write it out, right? If I had listened to that book right off the bat, I would have 2 physicians for brothers on my team right now. Mm-hmm. I would have the rest of the medical community on my team as well. And I would not have diarrheaed on people the way I did with my knowledge. And, I would have asked way more questions, and I would have been an expert listener rather than, getting defensive or, I was kind of like that yes, but person in the beginning, like they would come back with something and I'd say, well, yes, but, and then tell them what I knew. And I was almost, I don't know that I actively listened because I was posturing for the next thing that I was going to have to be defensive about. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And if I would have done it right, I would have said, well, tell me what you do know about Juice Plus. And then I would shut up and let them talk themselves into that corner that I could rescue them from, right? So anyway, that would be a no-no. I think that is a prerequisite on our team now. Anytime you bring in a new rep, before we even go over the getting started guide or anything like that, we get them on Voxer, and they listen to the book Exactly What to Say, because you are going to be miles ahead if you do that even before you share. So super important. Another no-no. I am thankful for the things that I did wrong, honestly, because I feel like I don't know. I'm just kind of one of those people that I don't question the journey. I figure, every circumstance has a gift, and it's my job to figure out what that is. So recently, I'll give you an example. How long did your call go? 3 hours?
No, we we try to stay around 30 minutes.
Okay, this will be fun. So for the last 4.5 years, I have well, I stayed home after 3 years ago, but I'm still in the pharmacy every other Saturday. And I have always been very cautious about what I say in the pharmacy. And so I'm very cautious to say, you know, I know of something that can help you that's not in the pharmacy. Here's my number. You can call me, or I get their number and I call them. Recently though, I was covering, for the pharmacist that took my place, who's also a Juice Plus rep and was 3 weeks after I met her. Anyway, and I was called into the office where both of my bosses were there, and was told that somebody from the community that I happened to have talked to in the grocery store even had complained that it was a HIPAA violation because I knew their med list, and I was talking to them. So my boss has basically said, you know, you're an agent of Pedley Drug wherever you are, which my personality is like, no, I'm an agent of God wherever I am. I'm not an agent of the drugstore, you know. And, you know, there was also an employee that said something about me talking about Juice Plus. She's the only employee that is not currently taking Juice Plus. So I kind of, you know, that gave her away also. But anyway, so that situation, you know, I've never been confronted like that about nutrition and its food. And my bosses of 20 years even said, you know, you better watch out. Your brothers are both going to be practicing here. And I don't know how they feel about this, but you better just watch it. And at that point, I would have gotten defensive probably, but I said, you know, I don't know how much you know about this, but it's just food. It shouldn't threaten anyone. You know, it's just good. It's nutrition. That's it. And then I had the opportunity to say, because I was called into the office, I had the opportunity to say, well, I've been meaning to have a conversation with you for a while. You know, my kids are getting really busy. They want to do all sorts of things on the weekends. I need to be done on Saturdays. You know, I'll give you ample time to find someone else, but my Saturdays are coming to an end. So, you know, like that situation, I could have crappy first drafted it, right, for 2 weeks, thinking of everything that they said that wasn't kind, that questioned my integrity. Even though I've never mentioned the word Juice Plus in the pharmacy, I am very aware of that. But the gift was I had not had the courage for the last 3 years to quit Saturdays, even though it's a fight at home and Mark doesn't, you know, he's got stuff going on Saturdays. So anyway, so the gift, so find the gift is kind of the takeaway from that. I would say that would be my no-nos, I guess. I'm not going to stop talking to people at the ball game or at the grocery store or wherever I am though, because it's who I am now. It's just part of, so to deny that part of me is denying all of me, kind of.
I love that. That is so perfect. And we are going to talk about it. You're absolutely right. It's like your DNA, right?
Yep. Once you know better, you do better.
Yeah, exactly. It's so much part of my DNA, somebody who was very unhealthy before to now it's incredible, but it's so much part of my DNA that my license plate say Juice Lady. So I kind of, I totally get where you're coming from. And I know everybody on this line feels the same exact way. Like you eat, breathe, and sleep Juice Plus, right? Yeah. And by the way, we would love to have you on for 3 hours because you are absolutely incredible. I
was just teasing.
But so would you say from that book, exactly what to say would be that my next question was your verbiage to attract, warm market to the business and then retain team members. Would you say that that's something that would be likely able to be found, not specifically Juice Plus, but be able to be found in that book?
I feel like you're going to get the confidence to talk to anyone about anything from that book.
Okay.
I use it with my kids. I use it with the team. My favorite way to get team members is to call raving fan customers and say, you know, how open are you? Again, that verbiage to bringing in a secondary stream of income. I absolutely love you. I love your energy. I have time right now to work with a couple new people and I pick you. Do you want to, have you thought about this? Who have you shared Juice Plus with? And really edifying them. And we've had really good success bringing them into the team and having them do well with that verbiage. So that how open are you? Nobody wants, I never say interested anymore. That would be a no-no. I used to say, I'll send you a video if you're interested. I never say that because people can be not interested, but 0% of the population want to admit that they're not open. So that is key verbiage. How open are you to blank, or I would love to send you a video if you're open to it, ? And then I send the third party validation.
Wow, I love that. That's so awesome. I'm glad we're recording this, Trina, because I have a feeling I'm going to go back and listen to this again. Very, very helpful. And then, if you could just maybe leave us with, a top 2 to 3 tips on, we all on this line want to be a national marketing director. I truly feel that everybody on this line is already a national marketing director. We just haven't reached it with a company yet. And so if you can maybe just share your top 2 to 3 tips for those people that are going to NMD.
Yeah, that's good. I did a Freedom Project call for Deanna Christofferson, the Moms on a Mission, on January 14th, I think it was. So if you guys are part of that group and you want to listen to that, you can hear kind of more in depth on my journey, especially the cancer part of my journey. And the Facebook page, Striding Through Cancer, I think would benefit everyone. I never mentioned the phrase Juice Plus, but I also recorded a 32-minute call called the AEIOs and U's of Striding Through Cancer. And that's the resource that you could send to everyone. I mean, Juice Plus is woven in, but they're going to leave with tidbits even if they don't want to hear the Juice Plus part. So anyway, I have to plug that real fast because we all know somebody with cancer, or, that has a family member with cancer. And so often we just don't know what to send them. So Leah, I can get you that call and you can forward that to your team if you want, because the feedback has been overwhelming for that. So I would say I have 3 tips. Number 1, be authentic. Nobody can be you. Nobody likes an imposter, and people can smell an agenda faster than complete will make you poop. So be authentic. The second thing is be open to who God puts in your path. And I will tell you that we have roller derbies. We have recovering meth addicts. We have lawyers. We have nurses. And I just know that God puts in my path the people who are here to teach me the most right now. And I 100% never discriminate or judge. If you went down my customer list, my average customer age is 64 years old. Not that that's old, but I've got 93-year-olds, I've got 86-year-olds, I've got a whole slew of 88-year-olds, and they're on fixed incomes. So, be open, right? Be open, don't judge. And then the last part is be fearless, I would just challenge you, who has been on your heart to contact that you haven't contacted? What if you hear, like I heard, how long have you known about this and why wouldn't you have told me sooner? I mean, what if you could save a life? What if Juice Plus could be the nutrition that your neighbor down the street that has pancreatic cancer, could help? We have 2 stage 4 pancreatic cancer patients that are 3 years out and completely cancer free. I mean, we did a lot of other nutritional things with them, but nutrition is so powerful, you guys. So get out there and be bold and be fearless and be authentic and be open. That would be my kind of closing advice.
Oh my God, those are excellent tips. And everything you said was so great. I am so grateful that you had time. I think you're 2 hours ahead. It's 10:30 at night for you?
Yes, time for a 10-year-old to be in bed, wouldn't you say?
Uh-oh.
I just heard a knock on the door.
Well, we don't want to keep you too long, but I'd love to open up the line to anybody. If you guys have a question for Michaela, I think, she's just, pearls and pearls are coming out. And anybody have anything that they want to ask? Oh, there's a cute little 10-year-old there. Hi.
This is Micah. She doesn't like to go to bed until her daddy's home, so he's just pulling in now, so we'll be good.
Oh, good. So if anybody wants to unmute your line and ask Michaela a question.
Well, I don't have any questions, but I just want to thank you, Michaela, for taking the time to meet with us and sharing your tips and your verbiage. I think that's really good examples, and yeah, look forward to meeting you in person one day.
You bet. Thank you. You're welcome.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hi, Michaela. This is
Hi.
Diana. I appreciate your adding in that don't judge and that older people can make it too. So I'm really liking to hear that.
Talk
Thank
about
you for your time. Thank you so much.
the 93-year-old doctor that delivered me came to the pharmacy, and of course my bosses weren't on board, still aren't, with Juice Plus. And he comes up to the counter, and he was maybe 90 at the time, and he says, "Michaela, I want to live until 100, and I heard you have some juice that'll help me. Help me get started." And I was like, oh my gosh, if the man that I have respected as a physician in our hometown for so many years can get this, everyone needs it. So that was really quickly into my journey. And that's when I was like, okay, fixed income or not, if they see the value in it, they will cancel cable. They will, quit eating at the senior center and drink a complete shake. They'll do whatever they have to get it in their bodies. So
Absolutely. Thank you.
you're welcome.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Any of our new people have a question? Anything? Don't be shy. We're not shy here.
No, I'm an open book. I'll tell you anything. I'll have a vulnerability hangover tomorrow for you.
So Trina and Gloria are both in Brave Leaders now, so they would understand that.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, if anybody, there's nobody else with questions or anything, again, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on, sharing your pearls. It really shows your leadership, your level of leadership, and really your commitment to helping, sideline buddies. We're sidelines. You don't benefit from us, and we just so appreciate the fact that you're that dedicated. And for everybody who came on the line, we've got some Canadians on the phone and all across the U.S., and it's late for you guys too, so we just really want to honor you guys. I really honor the fact that you guys took some time and that are committed to not only your business, to really helping others, because that's what this whole mission is all about, and we really get to make a huge difference, whether it's one person at a time or 10 people at a time. You guys are all making a huge difference. So thank you. And Michaela, have a wonderful night. And to the rest of you also, have a wonderful night. And thank you so much.
You bet. Anytime.
Thank you.
Guys.
Bye, guys.